Varunaya Namaha. Vashishto Varuno Rambha Sahajanyastatahuhu Shukrashchitrasvanascheva Shuchimasam Nayantyami. Vashishta as the sage, Varuna as the sun god, Rambha as the Apsara, Sahajanya as the Rakshasa, Huhu as the Gandharva, Shukra as the Naga, and Chitrasvana as the Yaksha rule the month of Shuchi. Namaste everyone. So today's video is going to be about Varuna Aditya, sun god in the form of Varuna, who is presiding over the sign of Cancer and the 4th house in Vedic astrology. So right now on the sky, sun is in Cancer, okay? And this placement for the sun is very interesting. Why? Because Cancer is the original 4th house. And you know what is very special about 4th house? Because, sun always shines during the day, right? For example, when sun is right above our head, when it has its maximum directional strength, it's in 10th house. But when it's in 4th house, it's below the earth. It has the lowest directional strength because we can't see its light at all. It's the darkest part of the night. This is when sun is exactly, let's say, below the earth, in our perception. So that's a very, very interesting form of sun god, the darkest form of sun god. This is why it is said, that the Varuna, he was once the king of heavens, he was up there, but then he became the king of netherworlds. This is why he's the god of everything that is secretive, everything that is dark, It is said because he doesn't have, any light, When there's no light, you can see, which is why he's also the god of all the stars, right? It is said that all the stars are actually his particles, that all the stars are actually his 100 eyes. So with his 100 eyes, he sees everything during the night sky, which is why he is also the god, of Karmic Law, because he sees everything, even if we don't see him, even if we don't see the light, but he still is seeing us. So that is a very, very special form of sun god, Varuna. So above all, Varuna is connected with healing. Actually, sun in the 4th house, and even more, sun in the sign of Cancer is connected with healing too. So either the person with that placement will need healing in life, okay? So either the person will suffer from some sort of diseases, or the person will be actual healer, person will bring healing to others. Sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer is actually really one of the major placements for healer, for a doctor, These are the Varunas of our times, the doctors which are here. So it is very, very interesting, And you can see these opposite things here, that sometimes person can be either blessed with great health or actually suffer from some sort of diseases. Suffer even from starvation sometimes. Or suffer, or have some fear from the sea too, Or some diseases connected strictly to this balance in water element. And why is that so? Because Varuna is also the god of oceans. He's actually governing water element as well, also in our body. So this is why, the disease is strongly connected with water in our body, with phlegm in our body as well, can happen too. Also with fungi, fungus, when you have any fungal infection. So this is another thing which can happen, which can be caused by Varuna. And why starvation? Because Varuna in ancient times, he was, it's very interesting in a way, because if you look back into the Vedas, right, he was the king of gods then. And then Indra took his place, and Varuna became the god of netherworlds, He became a god of all these things which we actually don't want to look at, This is why Varuna is also the Devata connected to Saturn. Saturn also, shows us these difficult truths of life. And this is exactly the same task that sun god in the form of Varuna is actually having. He shows us, that everything material, also our health, our youthfulness, our happiness, everything perishes with time. This is why he was considered also as god of poverty. He was sometimes considered the god, of illnesses as well. He was just considered, this god of all the things at which we do not want to look at, you know. This is why the sun is invisible there, you know. The sun, we cannot see the sun at all when it's in the 4th house. It's the darkest part of the night. And similarly, you know, it is in life that always when something is going great in our life, we think it's going to be forever. But here is Varuna telling us that, you know, nothing lasts forever. This is why he's also the god of law of karma and our karmic return. So very often diseases that these people may experience, you know, people with sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer, are some sort of diseases, you know, more of karmic nature. This is something that they more need to change in their own mind, right? Because again, 4th house is also the house of our mind, of emotion, our peace of mind. This is what they need to change, something deep within themselves, and this is how healing will come to them. Also, Varuna is god of chronic diseases and prolonged diseases, which in majority of cases, you know, they always have their start in our mind itself. Fourth house is also Moksha house in Vedic astrology, okay? Moksha means liberation. It means that something gets liberated in that house, you know? Some sort of symbolic ending, some sort of symbolic death. We can, you know, say that in a way, sun, when it's in the 4th house, because you can see it at all, it's also experiencing a symbolic death, you know? Some sort of deep transformation is happening. And for all the natives who have sun in the 4th house, or sun in the sign of Cancer, it's very important for them to just embrace these transformations, to embrace this impermanent nature, you know, of life, and all the things that are happening in their lives. This is why you can really read in some of the scriptures that they're saying that whenever a person has sun in the 4th house, person will be completely bereft of mental peace, you know. Why is that so? You know, because again, 4th house is this house of our inner peace, you know, and when our inner peace is disturbed, when something is happening on which we have no control at all, right? A disease, right? Or any, you know, life circumstance. So things which really, you know, we can't predict in any way, which is kind of interesting because Varuna is also god of astrologers, you know. So people with sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer, they might have this need, you know, to have at least a little bit of this predictability in life, you know, to plan the future, to have this little bit control over their fate. But their true life lesson is to actually just let go and accept whatever is coming. Acceptance is really the key word for them. In Brahma Purana, Varuna is also addressed as the god who creates life. So people with sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer can be very creative too, very inspired people. They can get, you know, this sort of deeper inspiration either from their meditation or when they are resting or even in their dreams, in fact, you know. So that's a very, very prominent quality there because they are simply capable to get the inspiration and get the creativity even when there's complete darkness. Because sun, you know, after all, he's also karaka of creativity, which we have, okay? And on the other hand, when sun is in the 4th house, he's in the darkest place, but he still shines there, you know, he enlightens everything from below, you know, he takes all the inspiration, all the secrets from below, and he brings them up. So this is why these people can have many brilliant ideas as well. So Varuna is also cosmic judge. He's god of cosmic law, you know, of cosmic law of karma, which keeps everything in balance. So he's the one who makes sure that everybody gets their karmic return. Again, this is one of the reasons why he's so closely associated with Saturn, with Shani, because this is exactly what Shani is trying to teach us. He's trying to teach us, you know, that whatever action you perform, it has its reaction, it has its consequence. Exactly the same life lesson Varuna is teaching us. So he's really the god of justice, and in fact, sometimes, you know, with this sort of placement, sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer, you can see actual judges, you know. You really can see that people who have very good sort of judgment, however, they can be sometimes too judgmental too, okay, because sun, you know, the burning sun is now dwelling in their mind. dwelling in their peace of mind. And you know, fourth house is this house of nourishment, of motherly love, and when sun comes there, he kind of burns to a certain extent, you know, this nourishing, watery potential of Cancer, and it can make the mind itself very criticizing. So these people must be very careful not to be self-judgmental, you know. In fact, not to be judgmental to anybody. That's not their life lesson, you know. Their life lesson is to rather accept the cosmic law of karma, the cosmic justice, you know. Because sometimes I have seen that actually, and this is probably again one more reason why in some scriptures it's written that sun in the fourth house can produce this lack of happiness in mind, because these people sometimes may tend to blame God or blame fate or just blame everybody else, maybe blame society for whatever happens in their life. They're not so keen to actually accept the responsibility, you know. So this is one very important life lesson for them, to simply learn how to accept responsibility for their own karma, for their own action, and how to get more faith, you know, in God, that He always gives the right thing to the right person. This is why studying astrology is actually so healing for those natives. And this is why they get often naturally interested in that. Because when you study astrology, you know, when you study the law of karma, the more you study it, the more people you meet, the more you start to understand that nothing happens without a reason, you know? That just because a person is experiencing some misfortune, it doesn't mean that the world is bad or God is bad. No. In majority of cases, it's just the karma of the person, and it's not just the karma, you know? We used to say this, you know, it's just the karma, but what is this just karma? It's your way to evolve. It's your way to learn on your own mistakes, you know? And when sun is healthy in this fourth house or in this sign of Cancer, it has this capacity to actually really learn on its own mistakes, to enlighten its own darkness. So like we said, acceptance, you know, acceptance of everything that happens in their lives is actually the cure and is the ultimate remedy for the natives with sun in Cancer or sun in the fourth house, you know. Because sometimes, you know, they kind of try, you know, to stop this natural flow of life, you know. They try to bring their ego into that. You know, imagine sun is this burning fire, and you bring it into these nourishing waters of Cancer, you know, which are just about letting go, you know, being compassionate. But sun coming here wants to do things his own way. That's why he can be a little bit self-judgmental sometimes and just not accept whatever comes in his life. But acceptance is really the key for those natives. And with acceptance, there comes another very, very important life lesson for those natives. And that is the lesson of forgiveness. You know, Varuna, he's actually so strongly connected with the energy of forgiveness. And in fact, many, you know, health issues that these natives may experience in their lives are in fact, you know, some sort of things which they failed to forgive in their life, you know, some things which they still, you know, mentally fight with, some things which they didn't fully accept it yet. And this is very, very important thing, you know, for those natives. And especially, I would say, because fourth house is also the house of the mother, and the sun is coming here, so there might be something they need to forgive, you know, to one of their parents, to the mother also, you know. But majorly, you know, they need to forgive themselves, you know. This is very important life lesson for them, and when they really forgive things, this is when things open up for them in life. Sun in the fourth house or sun in the sign of Cancer also very often has great endurance. Very often these are the people who are capable of enduring great pain or even great humiliation, you know. Like Varuna did, you know. He endured his humiliation, you know, and he didn't make any big deal of that, you know. He just took it as his karma, his destiny. So similarly, these people, because sun is also the strength of our soul, they have this capacity to endure the pain very often. And this is very specific because you see Varuna, he is also the first Aditya who is actual Dikpala, Dikpalaka. or the guardian of one of the directions. Okay? More specifically, he is the guardian of Western direction. Western direction is governed by whom in the chakra? By Saturn himself. You see, Western direction is the place where sun is setting, when sun is losing its energy, when it's going down, you know. So similarly, these people, even when their energy goes down, you know, either their physical energy, their psychological energy, or their emotional energy, they are actually capable to endure that. But at the same time, they're also very sensitive, you know. So it's a very interesting combination. They're usually very sensitive, you know, to all losses of energy. They can actually lose energy very easily in their lives too. But they're also very capable of actually enduring that. And if the sun is actually healthy there, in Cancer or in the 4th house, these people can be very, very humble too. You see, sun has here the lowest Dikbala, you know, the lowest directional strength. He's below the earth, you know. Similarly, Varuna, you know, he left the heavens to live in netherworlds because he has his karma, his destiny to perform there. So similarly, these people can be very much in service to society as well and forget about themselves and just humbly, you know, serve others. That's a very, very beautiful quality of Varuna Aditya. And because sun is actually hidden in the 4th house, you know, it's the best hidden sun, you could say. It's right below the earth. There's no way to see it. These people are also very private. Actually, 4th house and sign of Cancer are the signs or house of privacy. So these people are also very private people, can be very secretive, and keep in mind that their privacy actually really means a lot to them, you know. So these are the people who really like to just withdraw, you know, to their home and just be in their home and just, you know, recharge or rejuvenate their energy. Don't get me wrong, you know, sometimes you can get also extroverted people with that, you know. But usually, even those people, when they have sun in the 4th house, they just need this time to just sit in silence, you know, to just recharge their inner batteries. Which is why meditation is like a must for a person with sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer. Because they really need to recharge, you know, their inner space. And this is why also for people with this specific planetary placement, it's very important that also their home, you know, is always clean, you know, because 4th house is also the house of home. So their environment is best if it's always clean and if it's as simple as possible. You know, if you have lots of clutter in your home, it's better to remove it. You know, get rid of things. Don't accumulate too much things because this will actually impact your own mind greatly. If you have sun in the 4th house or sun in Cancer, you can be sure that if your house, you know, will be full of clutter, you will really experience it badly also as disturbed mind. So for these people, actually more than to any other natives, it's also very, very important for their own peace of mind to actually keep their house clean, keep their house simple, but also to do, you know, some vastu remedies in their space, because they are very strongly and very intimately connected to the environment in which they are living. Sun, as Varuna Aditya, dwelling in the 4th house or the sign of Cancer, can sometimes also be a little bit, you know, protective. Not only about his privacy, but its emotions also, you know. So whenever you're talking with these sort of people, you need to be really gentle, you know, and just respect their privacy, respect their emotion, because they can be a little bit touchy about these things, you know. Because sun here, sun in the sign of emotion, sun in the sign of the mind, the peace of mind, can become very protective about it. It is also said that 4th house, you know, is in a way a storage of zodiac, you know, the actual storage where the energy is stored. And this is quite interesting because Varuna, even though he's so often associated with diseases, even with poverty, he can also bring great wealth. Why? Because he's the god of netherworlds, you know. All the precious jewels, where they are, they're actually underground, they're hidden. So Varuna is also the god of hidden treasures, either metaphorically speaking or literally speaking. Because you see, Varuna, he's also the ocean god. And you think about Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity, how she was born. She emerged from the ocean. So Varuna is sometimes addressed as the father of Lakshmi as well, as the father of goddess of prosperity. And that is particularly interesting because you see, Varuna is the guardian of western direction, like we say, right? And in Dik chakras, so in the wheel of directions, Saturn is governing western direction. But in Kala chakra, the wheel of time, it's actually Venus governing western direction. So you see this connection here as well. So Varuna, similarly like Saturn, he can either bring us poverty, but he can also bring us immense wealth and prosperity. And sometimes you can see people who are very, very prosperous with Sun in the 4th house or Sun in Cancer. So a Sun in the 4th house, as we say it so many times in this video, he dwells below the earth, right? In the darkest region where we can't see him at all. He's also the knower of all the secrets. This is why it is said that he has 100 eyes. And with these 100 eyes, he sees everything. His eyes are the stars, actually, you know? And because Shatabhisha Nakshatra again is the nakshatra governed by Varuna, so it will reflect a little bit of these qualities. You can see people who are actual spies, detectives, astrologers, you know, even doctors themselves, they need to keep the secrets, you know, of their patients. So you can often see that the person's profession itself is connected with keeping the secrets of other people or discovering some deep secrets, either discovering some secret methods of healing or discovering, you know, some esoteric truths of life as well. So these people, you know, more than anybody else, have this capacity to actually see through the darkness and see through the secrets. As we already said before, the most beautiful quality of Varuna Aditya, Sun in the 4th house or Sun in Cancer, when it's healthy, is actual humility, you know? But true humility. And humility is not the same as low self-esteem, you know? Humility is just accepting whatever is there. Accepting everything about yourself, accepting everything about the world around you, you know? This is the true, sincere humility, which is not putting you too low, which is not putting you too high, which just lets you be in the present moment. And actually for those people, I can tell you, if the Sun is strong, if the Sun is healthy, these are the people who can be really in the present moment, you know. Very often you can see people, you know, who really have this capacity to be focused in the present moment. This is why they also may like to meditate a lot. And generally, if you yourself have Sun in the 4th house or Sun in Cancer, you know, one of the best advices I can give you is just spend as much time in the present moment as possible. Meditate, you know, just be right here, right now. Don't worry about the past, you know, about all this karma that Varuna is governing. Don't worry about this part, you know, and don't worry about the future either, because you do not know the future, you know. These are the stars and the astrology part of Varuna. But try to rather focus on the present moment, because you will find your answers here. So that was just my short video about Varuna Aditya, or the Sun in the 4th house, or Sun in the sign of Cancer. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're interested to learn much more about the Adityas and much more in depth, at the moment I am actually writing another book dedicated to 12 Adityas. And it's going to be really long and really very much in depth about them, about their history, about how they were perceived through the eyes of the Vedas and other scriptures. And it's going to be real big. One chapter is going to have most likely around 40 pages. So it's not ready yet, but if you are interested in that, you can pre-order it on my website. And obviously, if you would like to learn more, you know, about any topic in astrology, you know, or lunar phases, the Tithis or the Adityas, we are also having bi-monthly webinars on Patreon, a little learning community, you know, when we are meeting twice a month and just talking about many different topics in Vedic astrology and just learning from each other. So thank you so much for your attention and namaste.